everybody, Mikeycat Outdoors here. So what are we doing today? Hot tent season is upon us. Woohoo, buddy! So just out here lounging around in a Seek Outside Guardian two-person shelter. So I'm having fun. So let's check it out. Well, there she is. Got the door open. It's got one of these neat double line lock type door enclosures. So it's zipperless. You can raise that or lower that down as needed. The guy lined off. I got a little Tyvek sheet in there. Tiny little box of cut off wood. Got a medium titanium wood stove in there from Seek Outside. My little Lucy lantern. And 2 carbon fiber poles. So, coming around out here. Got a couple of guy line areas here. Got this one roped off, staked off. One on the other side I didn't do that with, but just got the 2 peaks there. That one and that one. And on this back side, turn this light on, you can see the stove jack. So that's a siliconized fiberglass material, so you can see I'm touching that. I would not touch that pipe, that's pretty hot. That rolls out of the way. Then when you don't want to use it, you can just roll it back down, Velcro it. And then I got this little guy line out. Keep this taut. And then likewise on this side, if you're not using it with the stove, that can be your second door to the shelter. So all in all, pretty neat. So that kind of has the basic profile of like a regular 2-man trekking pole style tent. So it's got plenty of ventilation room around the perimeter. So you can probably adjust the lengths of those lines if you want. Just out of the box, I just had the 4 corners there and then the 2 door ends. There are some little guide points there, line locks in the center. But if you roll those doors up and down, you really don't want to put those in. Just make it easier for you. Well, let's go inside here and check this place out. My little Lucy lantern there. Got a little box with some oak. Might be a little ash, but it's mostly oak. And Nature's Fire Starters, pine cones. Got the carbon fiber pole here. Could go a little higher, but I just set it a couple of clicks from the end. And got the titanium wood stove here. So there's a little better look at that stove. Now that I got my light on a little lighter. So yeah, you can see wing nuts, threaded rods, that's all stainless steel. And they got these tiny little feet things on the bottom. And you got a little vent there that you can adjust on the bottom for airflow. You can also adjust a little bit with the door. Put some extra wood in there and it wouldn't close all the way, so hey! A little more air for the fire there. But you can see that pole is not even a foot away from the stove. That stove really is not that big. It's maybe 9-10 inches across at most. Probably about a foot deep. It's really not a big stove. I got larger ones, but this is what they call the medium. And then I got the little spark arrestor thing in there, and you just take that pipe and put it over it. People have asked, do I put them over or in? It's like, no, you put them over, and then what you do, you've got those stainless steel rings that you tighten the pipe with. And if you put it down far enough, it'll eventually tighten the diameter tight enough that that thing's nice and snug and that ain't going anywhere. But like I said, yeah, that's how everything's built in there. You got that nice structural cup for your poles, and never mind the dirt. When I was setting this up earlier, Head out here in this dusty dirt, and yeah, so that's just badges of honor there. So one other thing about this particular shelter, you can kind of see up there behind me, there's a couple of little toggles. Now, some of that you would think would be for the door, but it's actually for putting in an inner nest. So this Guardian 2-person tent, and they got a Silex, which is a little smaller. It's a 1.5 person tent. They're both truck and pole style shelters that Seek Outside has. They've been venturing into this kind of realm for the past few years. They started off mainly with just TP hot tents and all sorts of sizes, from a 2-man all the way up to a 24-person. But they started getting into these things a few years ago, and yeah, it's kind of neat because you can run this either with the nest or without the nest. But if you have the nest in it, obviously you aren't going to be using that wood stove, so you can't run those and have a nest at the same time. If you're running this in warmer weather, you probably want that nest just to keep bugs and whatever else off of you. You got a nice airflow coming in from the bottom and everything, and you know, it's be a nice little shelter just to camp in. And then you can just pop that inner liner out whenever you don't need it, set this thing up like it is now, and use a stove jack and have your stove in here keeping you warm in the colder months. And all you really need is just a good insulated ground pad, and I usually, like I said, just put a piece of Tyvek underneath, just kind of protect against dirt and mud and junk like that if you had something on the ground, and makes it a little cleaner for setting up and taking down. And just get yourself like an XPED 9 or something similar. You know, it's got, I would say something with at least an R5 would be decent for winter, and that way it doesn't suck all the heat out of you into the ground when you're sleeping. Just make sure you got a decent sleeping bag for the weather that you think it's going to get down to, and then some. Never trust the ratings on the bags, so if it says a 0-degree bag, it's probably good for 10 degrees, 15 degrees. You start getting down to the actual temperature of the bag, like a 30-degree bag and it's 30 degrees outside, probably going to be cold. So I would say if you had a 30-degree night, I'd have a 20-degree bag. You know, give at least a 10-degree buffer on your bag ratings. Unless you got something like Western Mountaineering or Feathered Friends, that's a little better made. Those are a little more true to comfort rating, whereas most bags are survival rating. So, but if you've got the right gear, you know, you can sleep through the night. Unless you want to wake up every hour or two to try to stoke this fire. Just playing when you're hot tenting, you're going to have it for comfort, for lounging in the evening before bedtime, and then you're going to let it cool down. You're going to sleep in the cold, and then when you wake up in the morning, you stoke that fire back up, warm yourself back up, and have your breakfast or whatever, and get your stuff taken down if you're going out, or if you're staying, well, you know, you keep your stuff here. But yeah, that's just kind of how it rolls. And the hot tenting life, it can be fun, it's challenging, but if you do it smart, you can do it. But yeah, you can see I got the door up right now, and it's just double line locks going on that little piece of cordage, and I can just pull that sucker down or up whenever I want. Got it open right now, get a little bit of ventilation. But yeah, around the perimeter here, there's plenty of ventilation on this, the way it's set up. They got like the line lock things down at the bottom, so you don't have to worry about carbon monoxide or any of that stuff, because there is sufficient airflow in here. Some of their older shelters I like a little better because they actually have real stake loops at the bottom, and you can get them with side skirts and put them nice and tight to the ground, so you don't have a bunch of airflow coming through. Nice little fire going there. So that's all sheet titanium and stainless steel parts. So it all goes together like a little kit. Roll up stovepipe. It comes up here to the top. You got that siliconized stove jack material there. So that's far enough away from all the flammable materials. As long as you have that guide out well and everything on the end there, yeah, play it smart, you don't have any problems. But the melting point of titanium is about 3,000 Fahrenheit, so you don't have to worry about it melting on you. Here we go. Got the Lucy lantern up a little higher. That makes it a lot brighter in here. So it was kind of funny the other night. I was at work and came home a little later, and I ended up checking a little camera. It was telling me, hey, there was some motion out in your backyard, and went and checked it out, and I had a little unexpected visitor, Mr. John Buck. I don't know, John. It's not John Doe. Maybe it's Jack Buck. There we go. Give him a cardinal name. I had a big old buck just walking out in my dang backyard, so I figure he was probably out nibbling on the neighbor's jalapenos or something in the garden, and decided to come over and get some apples to cool off. But I had a lot of apples this year, and I had a bunch that were left over, and some have fallen off the tree, and so there's a nice little pile of them on the ground near the apple tree, and mowed them up. And when I do that, you know, I still see bite marks on them, so I know they're out here in the yard. And I've seen deer on a camera, usually the does, but this is the first time seeing a nice big buck out here. I was like, dang. So it was cool. But, yeah, I've just been wanting to do hot tenting for a while, and the weather's getting better for that. And I thought, well, I'll just come set this up and lounge a little bit, and got a few things I still got to do. But yeah, weather's gonna be great this week for this, so I'll probably expand my setup a little bit as time goes on, and just enjoy it. All right, got the door open, got a little thing of water up there, a little ham and sacred bacon. So you see the fire has cooled down quite a bit. So I was inside for a little while, charging my phone up, checking emails and such, but I'm gonna stoke this guy up a little bit, do some cooking. Definitely be careful. You're putting wood into a stove, because you never know. Ah, that's better. So I got one of these little chairs behind me. It just buckles together. You can kind of put it on like a stadium seat or in a canoe. And it's basically just two little pads that you put a strap between at a 45, and it turns into a chair. So nice and light, compact. Gives me a place to rest my back. So I'm just kind of waiting for the bacon to heat up and the ham to heat up, and get my water hot a little bit, and got my door down. Not all the way, but just enough. Still let some heat out, but get some of that nice heat to come in here and warm the place up a bit as it's getting cooler in the night. Oh, it's definitely after midnight now. About 1 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, probably wind down pretty soon, but get a little something in me and way to go to sleep. Got a good fire going in there again. Starting to get a little bit of heat on the bacon. Got that pre-cooked stuff. My son is totally into bacon. My dad used to eat a whole bunch of it too. I don't eat that much. Obvious reasons. It's probably not good for your arteries, but when you're camping out in the cold, it's good to get some fats and proteins and high calorie dense stuff into you. That way you generate a lot more heat in your own body. You've got some fuel before bedtime. You get some warm fluids into you. That helps a lot too with keeping your core warm. Well, the water's pretty good. Nice and warm. Got the ham and bacon cooking a little bit there. Sizzling. I'll say that bacon is pre-cooked, but it's pretty much ready to eat. I think that ham's pretty much about there too. Just good to cook that up just enough. That's one of the nice things about hot tents. You've got free heat. You've got the ability to cook. The aroma's great. Bears are usually hibernating this time of year, so you don't have to worry about them competing for your food. You can get hot water. It's cozy, man. Doesn't get any better than this. Sacred bacon. Pretty good. I know you shouldn't be watching people eat. Oh, kind of think back to the first hot tenter I used to watch, Kevin Renkovinsky, the MegaWoodswalker, and that man in like almost every video would cook bacon. He always called it the sacred bacon. There were a few of his videos he actually deviated from that course and had like kielbasa or pepperoni sausage or stuff like that he'd cook. And sometimes he'd have like a little bit of bacon or something he'd added into like a lentil soup. So he was trying to be healthy. I always kind of wondered, like, how can you eat that all the time when you're out in the outdoors in the cold in the winter? Like I said, that helps kind of boost your metabolism a lot. And they teach that in like winter training, just the fats and the proteins and all that. It kind of boosts your system to start producing heat, as that's all getting digested throughout the night. And chocolate and other high fat stuff kind of does that too, but overall it's probably not good for your health in the long term. Kevin's case, he passed away right before the pandemic of a heart attack at the age of 50. And he walked a lot, but stuff happens. You get older, but as far as bacon, I don't eat a whole lot of it. I mean, this is a rarity here. I've been eating a lot of kale, a lot of fish, salads, and stuff like that, oatmeal. I might have a snack cake or something on occasion, but I try to minimize that. But yeah, gotta start making wiser choices than you do in your 20s, and get out and start trying to get outdoors again and exercise after spending a decade or two behind a desk. And but I'll tell you what, this is very relaxing out here. I'd really like to just go hot tenting out, just hike in, do it. You got the extra bulk, you've got the extra weight because you've got your shelter, you've got your winter sleeping gear, probably a pad or something like that. You could do a hammock hot tent, but you're going to have additional weight there too with the shelter structure. The shelter is probably one of the lighter ones. I mean, it's probably like 1.5 pounds, and then this particular stove being a smaller one, it's probably within like 1.5, 2 pound range. So it's not that bad. Some of the larger stoves are maybe in the 3 pound range. Going to titanium, it's a lot lighter than, say, stainless steel and some of the others that are out there on the market. This packs down pretty flat, and that's the other part of winter camping, is a lot more bulk between your insulation, your gear, your stove, everything else you got to pack in. And you know, you either got to have a bigger pack, which will slow you down, or if it's snowing out or you've got the terrain to do it, you can get a pulk sled, pull that behind you, and it's a lot less effort. But if you're doing a lot of like really hilly terrain, rock scrambles and things like that, sled's usually not that easy to take into places like that unless you got a lot of snow to kind of, you know, smooth out the path, so to speak. But well, everyone, I'm going to probably just lounge out here for a little while longer. Got done with my meal, drinking a nice warm water. Warms me up a little bit. Just enjoying the fire and just lounging for a little bit, but getting tired. So I think I'm going to end up laying down, go to sleep. But yeah, I'm going to do more of this as the fall time and winter time goes on. I've had this Guardian tent for, I don't know, at least a year, maybe 2 years. I don't remember when they came out, but I've had it around for a while and just haven't ever really set it up yet. So I had the Silex. It's kind of the smaller brother of this, and so I pretty much knew what to expect. It's just a little wider, but overall it's not too bad of a shelter. The only thing about these ones is they've got line locks and everything at the bottom, so you've got a lot more airflow coming through. Depending what your weather's like, you may or may not want that, so you might want to adjust your lineage, what you got down there at the bottom, and you know, maybe put the pole down a few clicks more and hunker this sucker down to the ground a little more, which is what I could do. That way it keeps the heat in and don't have all the breeze coming through, and make for a more comfortable night of sleep that way. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap things up and head on in a little bit and hunker down. Well, the fire's stoking down a little bit. There were a few coyotes off in the distance. There's a cornfield a few hundred feet away, and on the other side of that there's some woods, and it sounded like there was a pack of them out there doing their serenading for the night. Traffic's dying down a bit. There's probably just a few people coming home from taverns now. Everything's winding down. Calm down, getting sleepy. So I'll catch you guys later. If you like what you've seen, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll make more videos as time goes on. Venture out a little more and do a little more. So I'll catch you guys again in the outdoors. As always, thanks for watching.